just to kind of walk you through it, what was happening was I was planning to debate and speak later in the day. What we knew is that there was going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 objections made per state, and each of those would take about 4 hours to debate and resolve. So we were preparing for up to 24 hours of debate, and I knew I would speak later. So I actually wanted to go over for the opening of the proceedings and the debate, because I wanted to see how the debate was being framed and discussed in the opening proceedings. So it was we were set to convene open session at 1 p.m. I went over about 12:30 from my office in Longworth to the Capitol. Took my position in the House gallery at about 12:45 because those of us who weren't speaking directly, we were being spaced out because of COVID. Were up in the gallery. So there was about 24 of us up in the gallery. I was watching the stream of the news on my phone while I was watching the debate, and I saw the crowd descend upon the Capitol. And then I saw it quickly turn into a riot in the clashes with police. They had an outer security barrier, a cordon around the Capitol. And I remember thinking to myself, that crowd is far, far larger than the number of police officers, and I really hope they can hold the line. And I kind of wondered whether they could. Very quickly, within minutes, it became obvious that they couldn't, and that line started to break down. So we received emergency reports and notices that the outer security perimeter was breaking down. And the executive security details for the leadership came into the chamber, whisked away Speaker Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, Steve Scalise, and McCarthy, and then we're starting an orderly evacuation of the members who were on the floor. And at that point, they told us to get our emergency masks on, and we got a notice that the mob had broken through the inner security barrier and were in the U.S. Capitol, and that the security barrier was all breaking down. So we started to get our emergency masks on because they said they were going to deploy tear gas within the Capitol to try to push the mob out. It was at that point that I realized that they had lost control and that this was dissolving very rapidly. The next thing that happened actually truly shocked me. First of all, they had completed the evacuation of the members on the floor and taken them out of the Capitol. And my friend Diana DeGette, who was up in the chamber up in the gallery with me, yelled out, "What about us?" Because they seemingly had forgotten about us that were up in the gallery. The next thing I saw was one of the most shocking memories, and that was I noticed that the police, there was about 10 police officers who were still left in the chamber with us. They were locking us into the chamber. They were closing the doors and taking furniture and barricading the doors in the main entrance. And it was at that point that I realized that we had been cut off, that there was no way out, that the evacuation had completed as much as they could, and that we were trapped, and that the mob had encircled us. Very quickly after that, made the decision to call my wife. Told her I loved her, and to tell the kids that I loved them. And that
did you think, Jason, your life was in danger in that moment?
I did. Yeah,
Did you have reason to believe that they had weapons on them?
Yes, because this was planned in the wide open, right? I mean, you think about in retrospect, in the weeks leading up to this, they said what they were going to do, right? And they said they were going to bring weapons. In fact, I was watching the chants on live stream, the hour before, and they said build the gallows, bring out the guillotine. And now, the court filings that are being filed in the federal cases have come out and said that there were members of that crowd whose plans were to capture and assassinate us. So I have every reason to believe that was true. So yeah, I thought my life was in danger, and I thought we were going to either have to make a stand or fight our way out of that chamber.
Why did that not happen? What happened instead?
Well, we were able to hold the barrier. We locked the doors. I helped lock the doors. I had the other members take the pins off of the congressional pins off their lapels, so that we weren't identifiable as members of Congress if they made it through. I moved the other members into a defensive position and got ready to fight myself if I needed to. The mob hit the floor. We heard gunshots going off in the speaker's lobby, and they were banging and trying to ram down the barricades for about a half an hour. We were trapped. I was coordinating with the Capitol Police to tell them, they needed to tell them that we're here, because I didn't think they knew we were in here. We were trapped because the command and control had completely dissolved at that point. And it was chaos. So eventually they got word to a SWAT team that there were members stuck in the gallery and surrounded, and that SWAT team, with incredible bravery, charged through the mob and cleared out a path. And then they opened up the doors and were able to evacuate us out with, rioters on either side, and were able to hold it open long enough for us to get out and do the secret tunnels and into the secure location.